founder of Black Clarksville and the host for our town hall tonight. I just really want to thank the Tennessee Black Caucus for being here. This is their first time in Clarksville, Tennessee, so it is just such an honor for us, such an honor for us to have these great conversations, and I thank you all for showing up, showing out, and being here to be a part of these conversations tonight. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite people, man for the people, Mr. Ronnie Glenn.
Thank you. And we'll get started by a little admin note. Just in case somebody decides to act up. There you go, put it right there. Just in case. Don't start none, won't be none, alright? Don't start none, won't be none. Ain't gonna leave that there.
I specifically said we had enough seating. Don't bring your own stand. We're going to be all right.
All right, thank y'all so much for being here today. This is the first Black Caucus meeting in Montgomery County, the first of its kind, and I'm really appreciative to be a part of that. It is my honor to be here and to be in front of you all, and I think it's an honor as well to be with some of my colleagues who are part of the Black Caucus, for them to come up and actually give us their time to talk to you all, share our thoughts, what we want to try to do in our legislative body. And so I appreciate all that. I want to thank our city mayor, Mayor Pitts, for coming out today. He is actually going to give us a little bit of what's going on in Clarksville as it relates to the community. I will tell you now, we won't do a Q&A with the mayor, so I am not going to let him get beat up out of here. So there will be no Q&A, Mom. All right? We're going to allow the mayor to kind of speak to us about what's going on in the city. We will try to stick to the agenda. I believe you all have one on your table. If you don't worry about it. I got one here. So we'll try to stick to the agenda. But before we get started, what I want to do is go around and allow my colleagues of the Black Caucus to kind of give a 2-minute spiel on who they are, what district they represent, how long they've been in the legislature, and a quick synopsis of a bill that you might have sponsored, co-sponsored, that you think that you're really proud of, and you think really would do some good, not only for the state, but for Montgomery County as well. So I'm going to start with our chair, our Black Caucus chair, Representative Sam McKinney.
Good evening. My name is Sam McKinney. I represent the 15th District, which is Knoxville, East Knoxville, downtown, South Knoxville City, and then in and around Knoxville College was at Mechanicsville, Lonsdale, Beaumont area. You know, I'm going into my 4th year in the General Assembly. I'm the chair of the Black Caucus on several committees. I'm going to break protocol. I'm talking about 2 bills really quick. One was simple, but this gets to kind of the point of it all, and that was make an announcement twice a year at every high school that, hey, if you're turning 18, you may have the right to vote. Here's a QR code. Here's a website. This is the process. That was a difficult bill. I think it took us 3 or 4 years to get across 2 or 3 representatives because voting is your power and your strength. And then the second one that I really think affects minority businesses is we lifted lowered the threshold on where you had to go out for a competitive bid. You can get 3 quotes, and that's down to $25,000. So that hopefully will open up the pipeline and allow some of our smaller companies that don't have that capacity to bid on 12 contracts and go through the bidding process to maybe get 1 or 2 to help them provide pencils for your school system or you know, books, road maps and things of that nature. So those are 2 kind of simple pieces of legislation, but I think they have some strength. Turn on Representative Love.
Yeah. Representative Love.
Good evening, Harold Love, House District 58, which is part of Nashville. I have TSU, Fisk, Meharry, American Baptist College in my district. And this is my 11th year. I also have the pleasure of serving as the president-elect of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. We'll have our meeting in Nashville this November. So I invite you all to come down for that. So now we're doing two?
No.
So two bills that, well, I'll do one. One bill that I had passed, which is related to property tax freeze. There was a moment where the property tax freeze income limit amount was very low, particularly in Nashville. It was around $45,000. I think here in Montgomery County, around $40,000. And if you made more than that, you could not have your property taxes frozen. So passed legislation to now give that amount up to $60,000. It's permissive, which means that if the local governing body wants to increase that amount, they can. They don't have to, but it'll allow more persons who are 62 years or older to have their property taxes frozen at that particular rate. And it's really going to help out cities like Nashville and Memphis and Knoxville, but also Clarksville as it grows and as you have more persons who age up and are having more of their retirement income increase. It'll allow them to freeze their property tax at that rate and not have issues of dealing with affordable housing. So thank you again. I'm passing to Chisholm.
Hey everybody, I'm Representative Jesse Chisholm out of Memphis. I am going into my 6th year now. Wow, 6 years, time's going by fast. And it's a pleasure to be with you all. I get the opportunity to serve as the Vice Chair of the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators. And briefly, I got one bill that was near and dear to me that it took us the whole five and a half years to get done. We ended solitary confinement for pregnant prisoners because there's no reason that a child should be born. And there's so many more, so I'm gonna do what I was told, stick with one. So thank you all. Representative Hardaway, you are.
Joe Pitts. My friend, Joe Pitts. Mr. Chairman, how you doing? How you doing, sir?
Hey, man, you're late. Don't worry about it.
G period, A period, Hardaway Senior. And I would have been on time if I hadn't taken directions from Ryan. But thank y'all for the invitation. I'm going to be brief. I just appreciate the opportunity to come and share with you. And my priority is to listen to you, to see what your thoughts are, whether it's about economics, crime, education, health care, housing, you name it. I want to hear from you so I can go back and work with Ronnie so that we can make things happen when we're fighting those wars up on Capitol Hill. And we can't fight the wars and win them until we fight each battle and win. And we can't do it unless we got warriors. So welcome to the fight. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. And we got two more.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, I like that. Truly, I'm honored to have the opportunity to be here with you today. I am Yusuf Hakeem, representative of Chattanooga, Midtown Chattanooga, only African American in a county delegation of 7 people. I have 4 bills that went through the legislature this term, but only one of them had my name on it. How did that happen? It's called theft. The other party likes them so well that they took them over. They changed the word here, changed there. But I was fortunate to keep one bill that dealt with sports safety. We've had instances where young people have had heart seizures or some other problems. And fortunately, there were people there who knew how to assist them, to help them. And so we got it where the TSSAA are working with us on this. Vanderbilt, the training for someone to be at these school games, and it will be done in particularly in public schools. Private schools are coming on board also. I'm gonna be short, sir. And just to give you a little bit about me, my claim to fame, my wife and I have been together for 58 years. And as a result of that, we have 4 children, 4 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. So they keep me busy. But that's somewhat of who I am, and thank you for the opportunity once again to be here with you.
Oh, pardon. Always one.
Be nice. One bill? Okay. Okay. One. Yeah. The reason he's acting like that is because I'm a Marine. So I know what kind of space I'm in. I'm Antonio Parkinson. I represent District 98 out of Memphis, which is the north part of the city. So when you come into the city down I-40, I got most of that to the left, and then when you hit the curve of I-40, I got all of that to the right. And so one of the bills I passed, this year was to study rail across the entire state. And so that bill did pass. We did get the first study out of the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations. Everybody repeat that? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You have to repeat that. But we were able to get that first study done, and we are now looking at the first leg to be from Atlanta to Chattanooga to Nashville, and then thanks for the alley-oop, and then Nashville to Memphis. And so, I thought it was a travesty that we hadn't done this already. To be able to move people, goods, and money across the state of Tennessee. It should be a boom economically, not just to us internally in the state of Tennessee, but from tourism, that comes into the state also. Just think about the opportunity to be able to, get on a train in Chat and then, see all of the divisions of the state without having to drive your car 7 or 8 hours across the entire state. So that's one of the bills I passed. Thank you, sir.
So again, just kind of give you, let you kind of all my counterparts kind of introduce themselves and give you an idea of who they are. But what I also want to do is give our chair an opportunity to kind of talk about the Black Caucus from a state legislative position. A few minutes to discuss that, and then we'll actually get into our agenda piece because I know the ideal is to ask questions for the Q&A. All right? So, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. As you all know, this was a tough year. Tough year in the General Assembly. We got darts thrown at us left, right, and center. They started the February 1st. Legislator wanted to change the name. Our building is on John Lewis Way. Wanted to change that name to Donald Trump Way on February 1st. Same legislator Black History Month, February 1st. Same legislator on February 28th, last day of Black History Month, got up and spoke in committee and indicated he wanted to bring back hanging from a tree, lynching as a form of capital punishment. Same guy. And then the Tennessee 3 was created after the tragic shooting there in Nashville. So where 2 of our youngest African-American members were expelled for a rules violation. Not a law, a rules violation. So, and one of them has had to run 4 times, has had to be sworn, will be sworn in 4 times. It's a shame, travesty. But we are working. Your Black Caucus is working extremely hard on your behalf. I think it was Representative Gray that coined the term for the Congressional Black Caucus, and it really is our mantra. There are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies as it relates to black people. They're just permanent interests. So we are red, blue, whatever. We are representing, in terms of the caucus, things things that are concerned to African Americans in this great state. And if that boat rises, all boats are going to rise. So again, thank you all for this, what I call historic first time meeting here in Montgomery County. It won't be our last. Thank you for bringing my good friend, Representative Ronnie Glenn, to the General Assembly. He's been a breath of fresh air and has a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of good bills that were killed this year, but he's going to continue to push forward. So thank you all for coming.
That's right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So our agenda tonight, right, is as I thought about how we wanted to go about it and what we wanted to talk about, I thought about things that affect the community. And those are the things that I asked our commissioners and some of our locals to kind of come in and discuss. We're going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour discussing that as they get up and speak about their departments and areas. And then we're going to go into our Q&A, all right, because that's the real reason why we're here. We want to hear from you all so that when we get ready to go into our special session here in the next couple of weeks on the 21st, then we have something to go with. And also it gives us an opportunity to start thinking and forming bills as we think about the next legislative session in January. So this is why we're here. This is why we do what we do. So the first order of business is I want to give our mayor, Mayor Pitts, an opportunity to come up. I asked him to come today to give us an overview of our community and what's going on. So please welcome our mayor, Mayor Pitts.
Well, I know I'm in a room almost full of politicians, and they say, beware of a politician who stands up without notes. He doesn't know when to shut up. So I've got notes, so I know when to be quiet. Ronnie Glenn, Representative Glenn, is proof that District 67 knows not just how to rebuild, but reload. Because every time we send a member from this district to the Nashville, to the General Assembly, we get better and better. So Representative Glenn, thank you for your leadership for District 67. First things first, I want to introduce my wife, the First Lady of our city. My wife Cynthia is with me tonight. And I could go around the room and tell stories on love is in the house and touche, and the G for GA stands for gorgeous. We just didn't say that to your face. And to the rest of you. We have some other elected officials. I know you'll be recognized, but to our, I think, and I could be proven wrong, but Kimberly Wiggins is the first African American elected to countywide office in Montgomery County, and she is here tonight. She's our county banker, county trustee, and she has her better half, O'Neill Wiggins, with her as well. And then I think I saw County Commissioner Rashida Leverett here. And then I always love to brag on our city employees because we have 1,400 of the best people anywhere that work for the city. And I see Deidre Ward in the back. She's the interim director of our Building and Codes Department. Deidre, thank you. And then there's just a bunch of you here. Loretta Morris, First Vice President, NAAC Clarksville Branch. Loretta, thank you for your leadership as well. Representative Glenn asked me to give you an overview, and I'm going to give you an overview, and then thank you for not including me in the Q&A. Because I need to ask for a kitchen pass because we've got a granddaughter playing soccer tonight, and I'd love to see her play. So after my remarks, Representative Glenn, with your permission, we'll need to slip out and go do that. But I want to say welcome to Clarksville. We are the fastest growing city in Tennessee. We exceeded Knoxville and all the big four. And we're on pace to overtake Chattanooga and then Knoxville probably in about 15 years in terms of population. We grew 6,000 people between 2021 and 2022, and that's about 17 people a day. Now that's a small number compared to Nashville where it's what, 1,000 or whatever number they say they've got these days, Representative Love, but it's exciting to live in a community that's growing and people want to live here. And there's a good reason why people want to live here. It's because of you. It's because of the people that live here and make Clarksville home. We got a city council that's very diverse. We have 13 members. The mayor sits as a full voting member on the city council, which is unusual because I have a foot in the executive branch and one in the legislative branch. I sit on the council. We have 13 members. Of those 13 members, 7 are women. First time in history it's ever been a majority women on the city council. So we're grateful for that perspective, and they're fulfilling committee chair roles as well. 4 African American and 1 Hispanic American are on our city council. And then we have, for 4 years now, African American serving as mayor pro tem of our city. And that's, to me, it's about time. Is just what I want to say. Now we have challenges, much like every city does. We're growing, as I mentioned, at a rate that is unbelievable. And we have a housing challenge. We have a major housing challenge. We are trying to protect our legacy neighborhoods. When we came into office in 2019, we put our stake in the ground and said those neighborhoods that were the oldest that grew up around our center of our city, those are our legacy neighborhoods. Those we want to protect and invest in. And so we're investing and trying to invest in resources. We ain't there yet, but we're getting there. And so I'm very excited about what the potential is to protect those. Small business, I think the chairman mentioned capacity, sir. That's the word I've been using for the last 4.5 years. We're trying to build capacity for our small business community. We went into office and we had a Parks and Recreation system that would bid 1 mowing contract for 1 large contractor. We broke it down into small contracts so that a guy with a helper and a pickup truck and a riding mower could mow 2 or 3 parks and begin to build capacity and hopefully hire more people. We've hired more African Americans as department heads than ever before. We've got to do better. And I'm just really proud to say for the first time the city of Clarksville has a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer that reports directly to the mayor, because our commitment is to diversity. It is not lip service, it is a commitment to diversity. Now, we got to get our house in order. We got a long way to go, a long way to go. But we're excited about what the future holds, and we just know that we'll get there with the help of the people. So that's what I've got to say to you. We just want to say, welcome to Clarksville. Hurry back. And while you're here, you know, we're sales tax oriented, so spend some money. You know, our school system depends on it. Our city government, about 1/3 of our income or revenues derive from sales taxes, so we could use your help. So again, welcome to Clarksville. Enjoy your stay and keep fighting the good fight. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor and First Lady, for that. Again, I think it's always important to hear from our city leadership when it comes to the community and how and what's going on, so that we all understand what they're doing and how they're trying to get things done for the community. Again, as I was putting together our agenda, again, I wanted to think about things that affect the community, things that I believe that the community needed. And so one of the things that I thought about was obviously our youth. Our youth is so important to us, and our youth is what's actually, you know, our youth is the next generation. And teaching them the things that we learned as kids is so important. So the state has a summer jobs program. Many of us didn't even know about that, right? We didn't even know that there was a summer jobs program this year. It did not come out when it needed to. And so as I learned about it, I felt like that was something that we needed to talk about. So I invited the Workforce Essentials in, Freeman Ford. Side note, he was my first sergeant in the Army. So we still got some issues to deal with. But I felt like it was an opportunity for him to come in, talk about the youth work program. Not only is it just a summer program, it's a year-round program. And we all know some youth who can use a job, because I do believe if they're working, they can't get in trouble. So, Freeman, come on up and talk to us about that program.
I don't have no speech. I'm not as good as the mayor, so Work for the Department of Labor. My name is William Forrest. I'm out at Fort Campbell, but basically I'm out of Clarksville, Tennessee, the American Job Center. And so the governor put together a $15 million and gave it to the state to push out to hire our youth. Now, we consider our youth 14 to 24. So we're not talking 18-year-olds. So it goes all the way up to 24. A lot of people do not know this, right? And the program is set up for 8 weeks and it runs off. So basically you can sign up for 8 weeks and then I don't know if they're going to continue this. You can re-enroll or what, but I know you can do it for 8 weeks. And the workers' comp is paid. Therefore, the employer don't have no issues. And it's up to about, the wages are about $16 to $20. So that's not chump change. It's not bad, right? Start out for a youth, if you were. So, and the program runs till next August. Again, the governor set this up. He's trying to push this out to get our youth involved. It was supposed to hit before school got out. It did make it. So we're just trying to fix it and push it and get the word out there, right? And let's see, I think that's all on the side. Got any questions about anything? Yeah, that's all I got. Just more.
When does the next cohort start?
It's going on right now.
Oh.
You can sign up right now. I do got the website, tnworkready.com. I'll leave that with Ronnie. But it's a website. You go in there and you'll see what I'm talking about. The youth program, you click it. It gives you one of those fancy codes, right, with your little phone. You can scan it and it brings you a lot of information, right? So it's a very simple process. And basically, the youth can find the employer, sign up for the program, and then they can work together. If that's what it takes. We have some employers. We don't have a lot. So the point, I would encourage them to go find the employer first, maybe a career field they want to do, and then sign up and get the employer involved at the same time. So it's a win-win. Yes, ma'am?
Are there any income guidelines?
No, ma'am. This is open to anybody, 14 to 24. And we got money to blow, so I just say it like that. It's, we only have like 400, we want 4,000, so.
When you say find an employer, what do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit better?
Well, find an employer that's willing to take you on for a job for 8 weeks. We're paying workers' comp, so therefore there's not much to this. We just got to, get them to go to basically do the same thing. They're going to do the URL code. They're going to scan in and they're going to register themselves. And then the state's going to, the website takes you from then on.
And so the employer isn't paying the wages? The state.
The state's paying the wages. That's what's a beautiful thing.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to dominate the conversation, but I've got a 60-year-old in my house. If they're already employed, is this something they can do with their current employers?
If they sign up, maybe you can. I'm not going to say yay or nay because I don't want to get beat up if I'm wrong. To me, I would say no, but maybe there's a way. If you're not trying, I just say I go to the website and list that employer and list your child and see if there's a way to make it work from 8 weeks from now on. It doesn't say there's a start to finish. You just got to enroll and start your 8 weeks. That's how easy the program is. So.
Repeat that website, please.
Yes, ma'am. It's tnworkready.com. And you can Google Summer Youth Program. It'll pop up too. Google's your favorite friend, right? Ask it a question, give you an answer.
Is there a transportation component to what y'all have?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So the business can sign up on that website?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to really encourage the business to get out there because it's like free labor for 8 weeks, so you really can't lose. And I know school kind of starting back up again, but for 24-year-olds that aren't going to college or maybe they're not going to a trade school, it's a great opportunity. Again, they learn these skills working for the employer. That's what we're trying to push. Get some skills ready so that you got some soft skills so you can get into the workforce, right? So, yes, ma'am.
If I heard correctly, you said the program runs until next August.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the program like on a trial period for so many years?
They
to
set
see how
up-
well it does, or is it going to end in August if there's not enough participation?
Oh no, it's running right now. It just basically gave us a year to do this until the money runs out. $15 million. That's what the governor set up for us. So
next August it'll renew at another 50.
we hope. I didn't pass the bill, so I do not know that answer.
I think the answer to that one is if we as the legislature added it to the budget, then it will be renewed as well. So it's up to us to make sure that money is put back in the budget to continue on with the work stuff.
And I will say this is the whole state of Tennessee. This isn't just Montgomery County, this FYI.
And what about small entrepreneurial jobs? Can they sign up, businesses, can they sign up as well?
I was told there's no restrictions on the businesses.
Okay.
That's just what I was told, so don't beat me up if I'm wrong.
Sorry, last question. Is anybody recruiting businesses and recruiting?
We're pushing it, but as far as recruiting, no, sir. We're just trying to get them involved into the communities. You know, we always say there's no place for our youth to go, so we're trying to give you a place to go and get a start. That's what we're trying to push. You know, it should have happened before the summer kicked off, but we didn't get into the school system. I mean, I feel the same way. We didn't get the word out in time. I got told basically in a July. I'm like, well, school's out.
I have a quick question. So since you have the 15 million, you're not utilizing all of it, is there a possibility to reallocate for transportation?
You have to ask one of those elected officials right there.
If it's not in the program, no.
So is it like a grant? Is that what it was?
It's a one-year appropriation.
Yeah.
We hope it gets renewed, right, but it's all about funds available.
So at the renewal, is that possible?
It's up to us.
It's us.
Yeah, good, y'all go right away.
I'll come back next year. We'll see how things
It's a
are going.
minority, but
Yes, ma'am.
This is just a thought as far as getting it out in the community and getting the word spread, because as Representative Glenn and I have talked previously about this, there are several businesses here that have no knowledge of this program. The monies are going to waste. Have you guys thought about partnering with the school system? I know that periodically we get letters home from our kids all the time, so maybe starting in high school is nice right enough that they can send out a document that says, hey, are you interested in working, talk with your parent, visit this website, and, you know, go from there, just something to help get it out in the community.
I can speak for Montgomery County Workforce Board. They put the information out to the school system. That's all I can say. What's happened, I do not know. Yeah.
I'll be a voice.
Okay. That's good.
Anybody else?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So I will tell you that, I can keep that stuff, thank you. All right. I will tell you that, thank you, First Sergeant, that I looked up as I learned about the program and realized that there was only 106 youth working this year in the program. Now, I know
Yes, ma'am.
106. I know there are more than 106 youth who need a job, who can use a job and need a job. So that just lets me know that, you know, that information was not being deciphered as it needed to be. So it's up to us. I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we're here at Town Hall. That's why we follow our legislators. We follow people that we, you know, believe can get us the information, because it's so important to get this information out in the community. It's so important as small business owners to tell businesses about the program so they can get involved. As Freeman said, if a business is not on the program or not on the site, how can they be a part of it? It doesn't cost them anything. The state is paying the salary. I mean, you can't hardly beat that. I run firework tents every year. I'm looking for them next year because I sure don't want to pay them. The state gonna do it.
Hey, Brian.
I didn't say that out
Tell
loud.
me, email me and I'll get the information they need.
Okay, so if we'll make sure you get his information, his email. If you needed to send to someone, he's more than willing to help you out with that. So again, thank you. So going down agenda, the next I wanted to actually have our NAACP give an opportunity to speak a few minutes on the NAACP. Always one. So I want to give the NAACP an opportunity to kind of talk about what's going on with the NAACP, what they're doing in the community. I've tried to keep everybody at about 10 minutes total. That's including Q&A. So Mr. Jimmy is going to talk to you a little bit. You're standing too close to me. So we give him a few minutes, and then if you have any questions, he'd be more than willing to answer. But again, we're trying to keep everything to about 10 minutes so that we can get to the actual meat of the bone, which the bone of the meat, whatever. So we can get to the Q&A piece. You got it? Okay. Remember that chair right there, too.
Okay. On behalf of the NAACP, we would like to thank all of you for taking the time to come out, because this is what this is all about. It's coming out, learning what your community can do, how we can give back to you in the form of a job or whatever. The NAACP, I'm only going to talk about a minute, and then we're going to turn it over to a partner. The NAACP right now are working in 4 counties: Stewart, Houston, Robinson, and Montgomery. we realize that there are a lot of people in these 4 counties that have not voted in the last 5 elections. So our goal is to encourage them in 2023 to vote, and then in 2024 to get them to the polls. So the bottom line is that's what we're doing right now. We're always looking for members. Membership is the lifeblood of the NAACP. We are your voice when it comes to civil rights advocacy. We are your voice when you need someone to stand with you, with your employer, when you felt that your rights have been abridged. But tonight, we are going to cut our presentation short because there's another group here in Clarksville that need to present you with some information that a lot of you don't know anything about as of right now. So at this time, we're going to send it over to Bishop Alfred so he can come forward and do his presentation.
I want to say thank you to Representative Glenn of the Black Caucus. As I was sitting there, I've been preaching for 48 years and I did 32 years in the military, but I really want to home in on my 48 years of preaching. When I look around this room, it's almost like I have died and went to heaven. I really want to appreciate you being here today. Whatever you represent today, I ask that you would do it well. Turn a no into a flip and make it become an on and not a no. I want to talk about for just about 7 minutes. There's a group here called the Minority Economy Development Committee, which I'm a part of. And we have reached out to the National Credit Union Association, and they have what they call the MDI, Minority Depository Institutions. And the institution we are trying to put in Clarksville, and not only in Clarksville, but in all areas and hopefully around the state of Tennessee, is a credit union, a minority credit union. Why? Because the NCUA focuses in on those. There are 503 MDIs in the United States, and they support them. And the reason I'm starting off with the national, talking about what they do, is because when I give you the brief here, I want you to understand that we're not going at it alone. We're not looking from the state representative. We are going to the national, federal level so that we can be there and they can support us. So what do we want to do? What are we all about? I want to talk about our purpose, our objective, our goals, and talk about the unbanked and what's the problem with the unbanked here in Clarksville and probably in the cities that you represent, and how we can gain your support and any questions that you may have. Our sole purpose for this minority credit union is to mitigate and to silence the epidemic of the financial struggle of the unbanked. Folks who do not have no kind of way to save money, no kind of way to go into an institution, no kind of way to have children's tuition because they are not connected to no financial institution. They are the unbanked. They are in your city and ours today. So what we want to do, we want to create a credit union, a minority credit union, which is safe, fair, and affordable. Now, I know you might be saying right now, Bishop, you're getting up trying to talk about a donut. We got all kind of donuts. Well, let me tell you something. The donut that I'm talking about tonight is not served to everybody. And when you look at the numbers, everybody's not privileged to the shelf that we walk down. And so we want to make sure that we create something that's being supported at a national level. And they right now, the chairman, Dr. Harper, I just pulled down a fact sheet. He is pursuing how to preserve minority credit unions in the United States. He is pushing hard because he says that if we're going to make it for small businesses, we need to come up with a plan where we can look at those folks and give them the opportunity to have financial stability. So that's our purpose. The objective here is to put it into Clarksville, put it right here, and we want to deal with the unbanked and the underbanked. Folks who also have, they may have connected to banks and that sort of thing, but they're not privileged to knowing what they need to do with their monies and that sort of thing. But what is our goal? We want to expand this here, not only in the Clarksville County, but to better the communities around Tennessee. I looked up the data. You don't have to just be a credit union. An MDI can be any kind of organization. Tennessee only have 5. Our bordering states, Alabama has 13. Mississippi has 18. We are behind. There is grant money that can come from the national level that can help folks that looks like us to move us forward. Right now, to bring validity to what I'm saying, we are already in the process of number one. We got together. We've been working on this for a year. We are closer than we ever been. This donut is not only in the grease, it's about to come out and get in the box. But what we need right now is to pursue. The first thing is a proof of concept. We've already met that. We're already there. Once we submit it and it comes back to us, don't hit me with that shit. I don't know what he was telling me to sit down and shut up. But once we submit the proof of concept, they will assign us a representative at the national level to walk with us. We've already reached out to other folks like California, the Chattanooga, so that we will know what we're doing. This is not just a fly-by-night. We are closer than we ever been. So our goal is not only just this county, but we want to protect families from predators out there, from financial institutions, check cashing places. That's where most of our folks are going. We can make a difference. We want to help Tennesseans achieve the American dream. The mayor got up and talked about small businesses. There are a lot of people out there got an idea, but they don't have the money to bring that idea to fruition. We're going to invest in local communities and grow our local communities, especially our small business. We want to offer low rates. You all know what credit unions do, but this is for minorities. We want to help undo the unbanked. We want to help undo the underbanked. And we want to change them and make them unstoppable. We want to move from to be the undo to move them to unstoppable. They can have a business, they can have financial stability, they can have all of those things. And you know, if we better the community, we better the society. Right now is where I say let's take up an offering, but I won't do it. Amen. We want to help the unbanked because they have a lack of access to credit and those sort of things. We want to be able to move forward. So who are we? We are the CMC3U, which is the Clarksville Community Credit Union. We are here. We are moving this thing. And so the question, the last slide that's back there, is how we can get you to get involved. We're working capital right now. We need monies to move forward. We need buildings and all of that. My wife just raised her hand, and I got to go home with her. It's time for me to take a seat. So if you have any questions, please see me. I would like the folks who are on the committee to stand so you can put a face with the speech. So see any of these folks. Thank you, Brother. Go ahead.
He had about one more minute. I was going to miss his chair.
I hope you all invest in that donation.
All right. Thank you, Bishop and the NAACP, for all the work you're doing. Next, again, as I thought about what we're doing here, what better way to talk about a military community than to talk about veterans? And so I invited our commissioner of Veteran Affairs here to kind of talk to us about what's going on at the Veteran Affairs. So would you please welcome Commissioner Tommy Bacon.
Well, since I've only got about 10 minutes or the chair comes out. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. If you would, please. Thank you. Hey, it's a great honor to get to be here tonight and talk to you about veteran services. I've been in the job just under 3 years, and I think it's the most noble service in state government. I spent almost 41 years in uniform, and so I get to give back to the men and women that gave me so much. And so, how many veterans we got in the room? Wow. That's not surprising for Montgomery County. You know, you're only second to Shelby County in the number of veterans. And I know that probably don't sit well with you, but it sits well with him. It sits with Representative Atkinson, yeah. So, but hey, it is a great community up here. They really support their veterans in a great way, so it's always great to get to come up and speak in Montgomery County. That slide right there will make you go cross-eyed if you look at it very long. So that's really just our mission statement, our values, and how we're organized. I'd really rather go to the next slide if you could, ma'am. Okay, so this one kind of tells you the story. So what is Veterans Services and what do we do? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you there's 3 buzzwords we use: advocate, inform, and honor. One thing we're not, we are not the VA. We got any VA folks in here tonight? Okay, all right. I'm glad I should have asked that before I said we're not the VA. We will answer our phone if you call us, and we will email you back if you email us. And I don't throw stones. There are 425,000 man, woman bureaucracy. It's huge. It's big. They just have a lot of things to say grace over. We're a state agency. We're a Tennessee state agency. We're here to help you thread the needle that the VA puts out there for benefits, help you get, if you're having trouble with your health care, help you try to get that solved. National Cemetery Administration, they govern the regulations that we run our state veteran cemeteries on. So we work with them a lot, and they're our partners, but we're not the VA. If you look at that map, that kind of tells you how we're geographically dispersed across the state. The red boxes, that's our field offices. We've got one here in Clarksville. It's on post in the Soldier Life Center. We also have 11 other field offices. They're congressionally based. They have to be 1 per congressional district. And we have, inside of those field offices, veteran service officers. What do they do? If you're a veteran, if you served any time, active duty, whether it was wartime, peacetime, whatever, there's a good chance that you had some things happen to you physically, mentally, that may not show up while you're on active duty, but show up later in life. We're going to sit down, we're going to take your claim, we're going to help you get that through the VA and get you the benefits you earn. Last year, in Montgomery County alone, $570 million came back into this county, into the pockets of our veterans, through their claims, their disability claims. Statewide, it was over $3 billion. That's a lot of money. So we want to make sure the men and women that wore the cloth of our nation, kept us all safe, kept us all free, get what they've earned, because them and their families earned it. I also want to say, if you're a family member of a veteran here tonight, you served as well. Every time a veteran goes somewhere, what happens? The washing machine breaks, the lawnmower tears up, and the kids have still got to go to school. So while they were serving, you were doing those other things that allowed them to serve. So thank you. We also run 5 state veteran cemeteries. Has anybody been to one of our state veteran cemeteries? We've got one down just off I-40 there in Pegram. We got one in Memphis. We got one, 2 in Knox County. And they're great cemeteries. I mean, if you go in those, you're going to see what you would see. I mean, it's not Arlington, but it's the same standards. In fact, the one in Nashville this week is receiving an inspection from the National Cemetery Administration. And those headstones are going to be dressed. They're going to look the right way, because that's how we honor our veterans. We make sure they are in a pristine final resting place. The other thing we do is we have an appeals and accreditation team. Okay, so you file a claim. Sometimes it don't come back the way you want it to. Well, you got a chance now to appeal that. And we're going to take that appeal for you, and we're going to work that all the way back through the appeals process through the Board of Veterans Appeals. We have about a 90% positive outcome rate when we do provide oral advocacy for our veterans who's been denied a claim. It's a pretty good batting average. The other thing we do, I got one of my team members here, Ron Dvorsky. Ron, he's our state training director. Ron and his team provides annual training accreditation to every county service officer in this state. You're very fortunate here. Dr. Andrew Kester runs the county service office here. He's got about 10 employees. I think he just took another job. Okay, great. Great county service office here. Very energized, do a lot of great work, help a lot of veterans. Every county's not that way. Some counties can't afford that kind of manpower. So some of them are just part-time. Some counties don't even have a county service officer. So we try to fill in those gaps. But Ron's team provides that training that allows them to be accredited and get into those federal systems that they need sometimes to get your records and different things that they need to help you file your claim properly. So that is in a quick nutshell of what we do as an agency. Now there's some other things we do. If you can go to the next slide now. All right, so here's some of my priorities outside of our four core that we're resourced for, the four core things that state government says we should do as an agency. Outreach, that's why I'm here tonight. We do town halls. We just did one in Harriman other night. We did one for Representative Akeem down in Chattanooga a couple of 3 months ago. It's our chance to go out and hear our veterans, hear their stories, hear what their concerns are, because we don't want to sit around in Nashville thinking we're doing a great job if there's something else we need to be doing. And that's the only way you can get that feedback sometime. Suicide prevention. Tennessee is 8 points higher than the national veteran suicide rate. I do not understand that. Great state, great outdoors, great economy, good schools. I just don't get that. We got to fix that. One is too many, and we need to fix that. The other thing is reduce appeal wait times. I told you about the appeals process. At one time, that could be the average 6 to 7 years to waiting to get your appeal heard. That's way too long. Some of our veterans at our stage in life, they don't have 6 or 7 years. We've seen that get down to more like a 2-year period just in the last 3 or 4 years. We're really wanting to push that down and make sure that every veteran gets their appeal heard, where we can get them the benefits they've earned. And then, how many of you have heard of the PACT Act? Okay, it was signed into law last August. It really covers all toxic exposures from the Gulf War forward. Okay, a young man in Ohio National Guard in his 30s goes, serves in Afghanistan, comes back, develops lung cancer. They did some research. They realized a lot of the things that they were breathing over there really messed them up physically. In addition to that, 20 presumptives, about 26 different types of cancer is covered. And a presumptive just means if you've got it and you had service and you was in one of those areas, case closed, right? You qualify. The big thing, though, if you know Vietnam veterans, you may know a Vietnam veteran here tonight, an uncle, an aunt, or somebody that's in your family that has not filed a claim. It covers hypertension now because of their exposure to Agent Orange. There's a lot of folks walking around out there with hypertension, just high blood pressure. So, again, just I wanted you to be aware of that. If you hadn't filed a claim, if you'll file an intent to file, and you can do that on the phone, and Ron's got all the information about how to do that, that will get your waiting period started where your time will be retroactive. That time clock goes out August the 9th, right? It don't mean you can't file a claim after that. This will just backdate it to the year before. So that's, am I still in my time, Representative?
Still in.
All right.
1 minute in the chair coming out.
Okay. I'm from West Tennessee. I talk slow, but I try to get through it fast. Is there anything I can answer, or I'm happy to hang around and answer any questions you might have, me or Ron, either one.
I do have a question. How long does it take for a response if you register for the PACT Act?
Okay, so just the initial claim, the VA's goal is about 125 days.
Oh, so it's the same as the regular thing?
Yeah, it's not expedited unless you're got a terminal illness or something like that. They'll put you to the front of the line. Yes, sir.
That number that the commissioner talked about, which is actually the call center that the VA has, that'd be 1-800-827-1000. And let the caller know that you're asking for a compensation intent to file. And that'll get you to get your appointment with Montgomery County or one of our state service officers.
Representative Glenn, thank you, sir, again, for letting me come. There's our QR code. It's got all of our information. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And if anyone has any additional questions for the commissioner, he's going to be in the back for you to go and ask any questions that we may not get to. And the reason being, obviously, we want to get on to, again, why we got here, which is the Q&A piece. So real quick, we got 2 more briefings. Well, 1 more, really. which is the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, which I think is very important. But before we do that, what I wanted to touch on was the transportation. I know transportation is a big key and a big issue in Montgomery County. We did sign one of the largest transportation bills for Tennessee, $3.3 billion. Some of the key points inside of that was to widen or choice lanes. Everyone know what the choice lanes are, right?
Toll road.
No? Yeah, okay, toll roads. Optional toll roads, all right? If you don't want to get on it, don't get on it. Also, there was money in there for each county to go to the street department, so they were able to get, I believe, about $30 million apiece for each county to work on their roads. And also, and I know a lot of the EV people did not like it, there is a small fee for EV users to be able to, because they do not use fuel. We all who are emission burning people who pay fuel tax, this was kind of balancing the playing field for EV owners, which now their registration fee is a little higher this year. A lot of people, you know, there was some pushback on it, but I think at the end of the day, we do have an opportunity to do some things for our roads here in the state, and as well here in Montgomery County. Department of Transportation did send us their slides. They're not here, but I wanted to get to one particular slide that I kind of wanted to show you real quick. We all know that the expansion on Trenton Road, back to 110, is going to be happening here real soon. So this is I-24 exit 1. Over here will be the new Buc-ee's. Who's a Buc-ee's fan? All right, I know y'all are. Don't try to act like you're not. So they will begin to do construction here on at Trenton Road, and it will go all the way down to 101st Boulevard. All right, for those of you who have not had an opportunity to know, that they will be widening to basically 5 lanes with 1 turn lane. They will also be expanding certain areas of the road. But I'll take you, please. And I kind of want to show you this new concept again of what they're looking at. Again, one more, and here. I know it's kind of small, but this is going to be the new 101st Boulevard and Trenton Road. If you have not seen this continuous flow route, you have to see it. It is the most confusing, but it is it will help alleviate a lot of traffic. It really will. It is really amazing what they're going to do here at 101st and Trenton Road. Just kind of oriented, this is Ford, this is Publix, and that is the Mitsubishi place. So this new route will be the first in Tennessee. It is in other states, but it will be the first in Tennessee. So Montgomery County, Clarksville, Montgomery County will be the test dummy for this new continuous flow route. If anybody wants these slides or want to see them, just let me know and I'll send it to you in an email. And so that's the transportation piece. If you have any questions about that, please ask it during the Q&A. I'm sure we'll be able to answer any of those questions. The next briefer and the last briefer before we get to the Q&A is our Economic and Community Development Partner. They will come to us and talk about a whole lot of state money that was allocated this year to help not just small businesses, but minority distressed communities. And so I wanted to make sure that we got this out. He talked to me earlier this year and said he's never been to Clarksville. He's been trying to get up here to talk about the economic development. He's here, so let's welcome our EDC partner from the state. Come on.
So I'm going to time myself because I'm looking for that chair. My name is Lamont Price. I'm with the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. And we're going to talk to you all today about a program called Fund Tennessee. All right, and so I want to draw your attention to the program you have here because it's on page 6 and 7. Starts on page 6 if you count front and back.
page 6 and 7, and it's a federal initiative. And so through U.S. Treasury, it's an access to capital initiative, and you've heard small business and entrepreneurship being mentioned at least twice today. And so this is an access to capital initiative targeted towards our small business owners and entrepreneurs throughout Tennessee. So the federal program, its name is the State Small Business Credit Initiative 2.0, but we've branded it here in Tennessee, Fund Tennessee. And the QR code that's on page 7, you can scan that and go and sign for updates, sign up for updates about the program. So it's $117 million in terms of access to capital. Now, I want to just get this out. This is not a grant program. Our program of work here in Tennessee is based on, one is a debt program. These are true loan instruments. And the other program is an equity program called Invest Tennessee. And these are, think Shark Tank. These are true equity investments with due diligence. And on the debt side, the debt program is called Lend Tennessee. These are true loan instruments. Now, of that $117 million, we have what's called a socially and economically disadvantaged individual target. So very broad definition. It incorporates rural communities, minorities, veterans, very broad definition. So of that $117 million, 52% has to go to SETI founders, right? So I want us to understand that, and this is access to capital. So on the debt side, how do we get the money out? Our debt partners are called Community Development Financial Institutions. Who in here knows what a CDFI is? Ever been to a CDFI, right? They're like a bank, but they're not a bank. These are the ones that we're working with are non-depository community development financial institutions, and they have a mandate to help businesses who may have been turned down by your banks. These are the individuals or entities you go to basically figure out if you can get a loan, and they do it based on their own underwriting, right? On the equity side, our partner is Launch Tennessee. It's a statewide entity that's attached to our department, and they're going to be the ones who help allocate the equity capital. Now, for the equity program, you'll go through, on one of the slides here, you'll see a slide for Launch Tennessee, and you have to go through these regional entrepreneur centers. Your closest regional entrepreneur center is out of Nashville, but that shouldn't be a problem. But what we want to do is get the word out about the program. Literally, I could talk to you all about this for an hour, but I don't expect you all to grasp all of this today, but what we're concerned with is that you know about it. The marketing piece is going to be our heaviest lift. We got to get the word out, right? Now, again, it's access to capital. So let me just put this in your hearing again. So you have the overall program is called Fund Tennessee. The debt program is called Lend Tennessee. The equity program is called Invest Tennessee. But we also have a technical assistance piece called Assist Tennessee. Why is that important? Because there may be small businesses and entrepreneurs who may not be what we call capital ready, right? They may have, may have not filed their taxes. Maybe had some issues where an underwriter, or even on the equity side, they really can't complete the due diligence because of some missing documentation. So Assist Tennessee is designed to help small business owners and entrepreneurs to become capital ready. And we're partnering with the statewide Tennessee Small Business Development Center to push out the technical assistance piece. Why is that important? Sometimes businesses aren't ready. Again, these are not guarantees, right? Why? Because we want the money to revolve. This is a 9-year program. So once a small business owner is through with that loan, we want it to revolve back into our community so others can utilize the capital. So that being said, the other piece on the equity side, we're actually going to be doing some training. Who in here understands what an angel investor is? If you've heard the term, right? So on the equity side, there may be the opportunity where folks may want to invest on the investor side, but they really don't understand equity capital, where we're going to launch what's called an angel investor and entrepreneur training initiative so folks can understand what equity investing is all about. You have to have the knowledge in order for, if there is a high net worth individual, some of our retired military, you may have done well in terms of saving and investing. You want to put back into your community, but you don't quite understand the equity space. This is for you. For the entrepreneur who wants to take equity capital, and again, it has to be a fit. These are tools, and it may not fit your business, but you're looking for equity capital. You have to understand what the investor needs in order to exit and for your business to thrive. So we're putting that out there. And so that being said, again, help us by spreading the word. We have to get the word out. Basically, these programs are at the point where they're ready to take application. Again, this is access to capital, right? And so, some of this we may have to educate our small business owners and entrepreneurs about some certain intricacies in terms of the financial space, but that's okay. That's why we're here. So I want to thank the Tennessee Black Caucus. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. And I can take a few questions, and I have a few cards, and I would encourage you all, again, on the QR code. Please sign up on page 7. Use that QR code to sign up for updates. And again, we're going to be around, but help us help you. Again, we got to connect, build our network, but we got to get the word out. Any questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with Launch Tennessee, I know you said they're equity partner. Is there a way to buy them out of their equity, or are they always a partner?
Well, yeah, based on the investment, again, if there may be a scenario, and again, some of these are, it depends, because once you get really into the nitty gritty of that term sheet, you could set it up potentially where Launch Tennessee, they want to do like the debt. They want to be able to continue to revolve those equity dollars, continue to invest in Tennessee. So my answer is, it depends, but probably yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm connected with several small businesses, and one of the pain points that I hear is they have trouble navigating the TN tap in order to pay their business taxes.
What is that? The TN what?
TN tap. TN tap.
Okay.
Yeah. Can Assist Tennessee help with that?
Let's take a look at it. I want to see what the because honestly that sounds like more potentially a state problem and an educational piece. But let's hear it, and it may be something where I'll leave my card, and maybe something we can begin discussions about.
You have a limited number of business cards. I'm going to claim it. I've got access. I know several small business owners, and that's one of the pain points that they struggle with, which makes it difficult for them to seek investing and things like that because they struggle to pay their revenue tax.
Gotcha.
Because they can't navigate the 10 tap, and there's no one that they can go to for assistance.
Okay.
With that.
Okay. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody else. Okay, so you're doing the angel investor education course. So are you introducing people to PEDS and equity partners, people that they can work with, or is it just the education?
Great question. So the program, the angel piece, the angel training piece is we're going to be working with the Angel Capital Association to do virtual training. And so the goal is to build up a network of new angels, angel investors, and entrepreneurs who understand the equity space. So what we will need to do is, for example, this is as a use case scenario, if there is an entity here that would potentially want to host one of these virtual training sessions, and then the networking piece, that's probably the secret sauce. You're getting like-minded people together to walk through potential investments and find potential investors. And again, the due diligence piece, if you're a subject matter expert in one area and Representative Chisholm is an expert in another area, to bring those people together to network and then try to get funded through Launch Tennessee and Invest In. Again, these are not, just because you go through the training doesn't mean you're going to get funded, right? But it helps to prepare you for that. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I've got a question about just the age of people that can participate in, let's say, the program like the Angel Investor Learning Program.
You have to be SETI. You have to be defined based on the definition of SETI and a very small business, which very small business is defined as individuals with or businesses with fewer than 10 employees. But I don't think there's an age restriction. I think if you have the wherewithal, if you want a loan, and if you're a young business owner and you you have the collateral and the credit score and you meet the underwriting criteria, I think you could obviously apply for the debt side. And on the invest side, again, you have to just go through due diligence criteria in that regard as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right.
So thank you so much. I know that's a lot of information.
It is.
And trust me, I've heard this brief a couple of times and I'm still confused on a lot of it. But that's okay because we have a subject matter expert who we can call and ask about it. I kind of put it in the same category as Shark Tank when it comes to investing in companies and things like that. But Lamont's going to be here a while. He's going to be in the back along with Commissioner Baker. So again, if you have any questions that we didn't have time to answer right here, please go to the back and just ask that question to them individually. Right now, that is it for our briefers. We are now going to get ready to start our Q&A, which is why, again, we are here. We want to make sure that you all get to ask your questions. But before we transition into that, Tiffany needs to do something real quick with the camera. And while she does that, I want to give Deidre an opportunity to talk about the Boys and Girls Club that we are spearheading, again, the right way. We are spearheading the right way, all right? Because I don't want to have to get the chair out. But I wanted her to give you a quick overview, a quick talking point on the Boys and Girls Club and us doing it the right way and what's about to happen. Go ahead, Deidre, and Tiffany going to do something with the camera real quick.
Good evening. I am Deidre Ward again. I really thought you were going to say a little more, so I didn't have to say that much. But we are looking, as you said already, to bring the Boys and Girls Club to Clarksville. I'm not sure if any of you have heard about that, what that is, and the importance of that being in our community. We talked a lot, not we, but everybody has talked a lot tonight about community, our youth, and getting them more involved off the street, whether that's, the Boys and Girls Club, activities, jobs, those kind of things. And the Boys and Girls Club is one of those things that will do it. Clarksville, as the mayor mentioned earlier, we're growing. We are, I think, the fourth largest right now. We're right behind Chattanooga on verge to take over that spot very soon. And we are the only city that is that's in those top spots. So we do not have a Boys and Girls Club. And you ask yourself why. And a lot of that is, people just have not put in the time or resources or ask those right questions. How can we bring that to Clarksville? We hear a lot of negative things on top of positive things about Clarksville and the youth. How can we help them? And this is one of those things. So I'm just going to go over just a really quick to get you in and out and onto the Q&A part. I'm sorry. If you have questions, please let me know. Or Representative Glenn is involved as well in trying to move this thing along. So either myself or him, we can help answer questions. If we don't know the answers to those questions, we can help get those for you. Because of the stage it's in right now, and we're still trying to work with Middle Tennessee, there may be some questions that we legally cannot answer for you right now, and there may be some that we can if you do have those questions. But there are a lot of influencers, I'll say, in this room, whether that's in politics or just your general neighborhoods, no matter how big or small. And what we're doing is for you to get the information that you need to be able to share that with your communities. A lot of you have that pool. So whether you're doing these town halls in your communities or speaking at different events, you need the word to get out. Whether you as a small business owner, I think you were mentioning earlier, a lot of small business owners. But we're not just looking for small business owners. We're looking for big owners, big pockets. We need investing. And if you want to see a change in the community and your youth, and no matter how big or small, we need that. We need your help. And that's by monetary donations, physical donations, time, those kind of things. We're currently looking for buildings. So if you guys know any businesses that have abandoned buildings or big sections of their buildings that are in an area that we could potentially even just look at. How close is that to a school? Within walking distance for kids to easily be able to get out of school, come get help with their homework and have a little fun in the process. We're also open to trying to work with the school system. Do any of these schools that are in those neighborhoods have availability that they would be willing to work with us after school several communities, several states, several cities have Boys and Girls Clubs that are in schools until they can fund enough money to build their own building. We were there. We had some stuff fall through the cracks, as some of you may have heard, but we are on the right track. We are working with Middle Tennessee right now. We have a meeting set up later this week to be able to go over some of those details, talk with some people in the community, answer some questions, as well as let them know. Don't bring out the chair. But I do want to, last thing is just to let you guys know that this is not a 100% solid. Middle Tennessee is going to come down here to meet with us, to talk with people, engage interest. You know, they don't want, if Clarksville doesn't want it anymore, they want it for us, but we also have to show the interest and put in the work. They're not going to put it in all on their own from Nashville. So we're just asking for your help. And if any of you are interested in kind of keeping tabs on this and helping where and how you can, please reach out to us and we'll add you to the list so we can keep you involved and updated. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm taking questions as long as
No,
there's
you're
no
not.
chairs
Get the
being
chair
thrown.
out.
I really just want to know if you have the specs for the building that you need.
You need me to do
And if y'all have a budget for build out.
We have a massive budget. We can't discuss that just yet. We have to wait until the meeting with Middle Tennessee later this weekend to kind of see. We have our thoughts, then they have their thoughts, and we kind of merge them so we can put across one image and be uniform with that.
Who is the point person to talk to about building location? Would it be you or Ronnie?
Either one of us. Ronnie has taken kind of a lead role in trying to assist us in working with his title. He has been able to kind of really help push this along. So kudos and thank you so much for getting involved. It was looking pretty bleak for Clarksville, and so when we reached out and tried to see that involved, and he started making phone calls, it's really got us to where we are, and we're hoping that we can get one here in Clarksville very soon. So if you have any ideas about buildings that we can potentially start looking into, that's one of the conference calls and stuff that we are going to be discussing with Middle Tennessee. When they're asked us, what groundwork have you done? What buildings do you have in mind? What can we look at? They're not just doing the work for us. They want us to be involved. So we're asking for your help in that process. If you know anything, please get that information to either one of us. And my email is deidreward, DEIDREWARD @mail.com, MAIL. No Gmail, no Ymail, just mail. But again, you have Roseanne and Flynn's contact information as well.
That's what happened when you let city employees talk. They talk too long.
Tiffany had something, some housekeeping real quick about the camera.
Yeah, just real quick, y'all. So I thank everybody for being here in person. However, we are live from the Black Clarksville page as well. As y'all see, we have flipped the camera around so that we are able to capture the questions. We're mic'd, we have good sound in here. If you could just make sure that you speak up. I just want to make sure that everyone who is watching live, when we reshare this, they're able to hear your questions and get the value from the answers. So please just speak up, be cognizant that we're on live, and I will be kind of shifting the camera around. We have all of our representatives in the crowd, so we'll be catching them. This is just a better angle for us. Thank you.
All right, on the Q&A, so how this will work is you basically stand up, tell us who you are, and if you have a title or something you want to give, like, you know, president of the bank or whatever, do that, and then ask your question. Kind of be brief with your question that you may have, and kind of direct it towards one legislator, all right? That way we're not sitting around waiting for the other to answer. If you know you want to ask a question to a specific one, please do that. We can all answer the questions that you have. If we can't, we can always defer to one of our other members, or we can always come back and get you the answer later. So at this time, we're going to open it up to start the question. So please don't hesitate. Yes, sir.
I'm Pastor James Clarksville here. I am the executive director of HIV program here in Montgomery County. As you know, Montgomery County, we are one of five counties that have the highest HIV rate. I've been doing this for 21 years this coming October. Getting funding for Clarksville, getting doctors here for Clarksville. I have to transport people to Springfield and to Nashville. The highest grant I've ever had was $35,000 about 5 years ago. All the other money comes out of Clarksville being number 5 or number 4 in population, where's the funding coming here for Clarksville to take care of HIV? We have the only HIV program in Montgomery County.
Okay, good question. Again, I'm glad you brought that to us because now that's something we can take back to the legislature. And as the chairman said earlier, a lot of times it's about getting in front of the budget. If we can get in front of the budget, we have a better chance of getting that funding approved. When we're trying to come from behind the budget, through an appropriations or through something like that, it is even harder to get. So definitely I will take, after this is over, come talk to me and we'll talk about how we go forward with doing it. I believe you tried to do some legislation with HIV.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm representing Parkinson. Part of the problem is that the governor pulled the federal funding for HIV assistance from the state of Tennessee and said that they were going to do it, on their own, but we're yet to see that. So that's part of the challenge that we're dealing with. And we couldn't get an explanation from the Commissioner of Health nor the governor's office as to why they thought that was such a good idea. But we feel your pain, and Shelby County is not receiving it all either. Just FYI.
So that's something that we have to try to get in front of. And again, he pulled it in the middle of the budget, so it was really hard for us to do anything about. Representative Love?
Well, it helps if you just get a number when you talk to them. A lot of times when we have conversations about the budget, it's a nebulous number, just more money, and that never works. So we need to know how much you're talking about, how much it would be, if it's $50,000 or $100,000. Get with Representative Glenn, that way we'll have a tangible number to work with instead of just more money, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes, sir. Oh, this is one of your guys.
All right, thank you. Association from Lakeside Park. My question is you, Mr. Clinton. Are you centers that we have right now, what are we doing to enlarge them? Because most of them are getting overran right now. We got the Crow, we got Cleveland, and we got Burke Card. What are we doing to facilitate our numbers as the youth gets larger?
You mean as far as the rec center?
Yeah, as far as growing it, building it out, being able to accommodate the number of kids coming in.
Right. So, great question. I actually asked this year, again, being a new guy on the block, it's kind of hard to ask for money and actually get it. But I did ask for $3 million on our rec center. Of course, it was disapproved. And I asked for it as an appropriation. Many of our appropriations, I'll be honest with you, after the Tennessee 3 thing, we as Democrats got absolutely nothing. Representative Chisholm, who's always had an appropriation in the bill, in the budget, didn't even get his. That's how bad they cut us this year. But I did ask for $3 million for appropriation, and I'll go back and ask for that again. So that's part of what I'm trying to do to make sure we expand our rec centers.
And I have another. Also,
you only get one just because you know Sam. Get the chair.
All right, also I have another one. As far as we have a lot of historic cemeteries around. Are there grants to keep the upkeep of those cemeteries? Because we found one that we didn't even know it. And the only reason we knew it there because we had a street cleanup sign. We had to look up there, and the grass we know it was headstone.
Okay.
Do we have anything in the city where the city needs not facilitate but keep the upkeep of those cemeteries?
I believe you in my emails, but don't worry about it. It's so funny you asked that because I wish the mayor was still here. I actually just sent him an email yesterday for grants for our cemeteries. The minimum is $5,000 and the max is $100,000 that you can ask for to renovate and upkeep your cemeteries and museums throughout the state. Many people don't even know that they give grants for that kind of thing. But I just sent it to the mayor just yesterday to request that grant, and that's something that he's working on now. So the answer to your question is yes, we do. You already answered all your questions.
I have a question about affordable housing. So, let me stand up. My name is Juanita Charles, and I am a affordable housing provider. And so I am currently building an affordable housing complex, and I've gone to the state and I've gone to multiple agencies to figure out where we can get additional funding to cover that gap. And so I've gotten Tennessee Housing Fund, which ends up being an equity partner, and CBDG funds, which I know the city has, so I'm going to try to get at those. But what other resources do we have at the state level that can help to to provide truly affordable housing. And that means that the rent is less than $785 a month.
Okay, Barton, you want to know?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've been to Tennessee Housing Development Agency, you have been through to them. So that's our clearinghouse for state funds for housing. And so they should have everything that available, but they can walk you through the tax credits process.
So I got that.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you my personal situation, but there's still a gap. So when you do the tax credits and you go to Tennessee Housing Fund, there's still like $1 million grant. I mean, $1 million gap. So for new developers like myself, there's barriers to entry that I would like to see how we're going to close those or at least mitigate those.
Okay, good question.
There is money through a group called FIHE that's applying to the state stimulus group for some money to do affordable housing across the state. And that may be approved the next 3 months. So it's a conglomeration across the state. It's with the ARP funds came out from the federal government.
Okay, and what can you spell the name of that?
FAHE, F-A-H-E.
Thank you.
And also the Tennessee Association of Housing and Redevelopment Authorities.
Yeah, I'm in contact with them.
Ask them about the ARP funds they're applying for.
Okay.
They're not telling a lot of people about it, but you'll now know to ask them about it.
Okay, thank you.
And THDA has some new funds that's about to free up also.
They got $90 million from the state
Right.
to do that.
Right.
One other question, so it's just a quick follow-up. So of those funds that come down from the state, do they come through the city? And I'm not talking about those outside organizations, but I mean like, do they come through the CBDG fund?
And so THDA realized that there was a gap between you starting and finishing your work because of the increased cost. Am I on the right? Oh, I'm sorry. Because the cost of construction going up. And so they approached the state about ARP funds. And just let me put this plug in here right now. This is why it's important. When you see money coming down from the federal government, from Washington, while everybody's saying Washington's no good, when money comes down from Washington, it trickles down and everybody takes credit for infrastructure, affordable housing. When people got their rent paid and mortgages paid, it was because they passed these laws to improve infrastructure and to also deal with recovery. And so THDA asked for $90 million to fill that gap of organizations started but not being able to finish. But you got to contact them and have them release the funds. And if you have issues, contact myself, Representative Parkins, because we sit on this group called TASA, which is Intergovernmental Relations. And oftentimes we're able to ask more questions than other members in other committees because we work outside of the normal committee process. So let them know about that $90 million that they drew down also from FIHE for that money for that.
Yeah, one last, is Juanita, is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Juanita Charles.
Ms. Juanita, so get with Representative Glenn, and he's going to set up, I can tell him this because he's junior to me. He's going to set up a meeting with Ralph Perry, who is over THDA, and you'll be able to talk to him directly in Representative Glenn's office, because if Representative Glenn calls him, he will come. and that's what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Ain't that right, Representative?
I guess that's right. Somebody in the back had a question? Did you? No? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mary.
So about an hour ago, the governor.
You need to introduce yourself.
I am Mary Richards. I'm just a community member. But about an hour ago, the governor signed the proclamation that there will be this special session, and he has the priorities on here are getting law enforcement officers getting access to medical records, mental health records, juvenile crime records, transferring juveniles to criminal courts, limiting access to. There's nothing about. Oh, there is one. Encouraging the safe storage of firearms. So, but it seems like it's going to focus on mental health and that kind of So what's the plan?
So just to kind of do a thumbnail sketch on how this works, either the Speaker of the House, Lieutenant Governor, who's Speaker of the Senate, calls special session, or the Governor can. But when they call a special session, it has to be a limited scope. And that's what they did. It's very unfortunate. I just saw this as well. You know, he walked through, he met with each of us in small groups, 5s and 6s, and we encouraged him to do something substantive. But as you heard the Speaker of the House say, we're not going to talk about guns on this gun control session. And we're not talking about guns. We're not talking about capacities. We're not talking about, you know, AR-15s, anything like that. He also said we're not going to talk about these extreme risk protection orders, the red flag laws. That's a taboo thing you can't say now. So we have to stay within the bounds of this special call. So we got 1.5 hands tied behind our back, and it's coming late because we as legislators are trying to write legislation. In fact, Representative Hakeem and myself talked this morning about what we want to write, but we didn't know what the scope was. So this is a very, very narrow scope. There's a lot of words there, but it's basically giving law enforcement a little more authority and TBI to delve into places, bringing harsher terms for our younger offenders and safe stores. And unfortunately, the governor's party, the majority of them doesn't even want to have special session. There's several people that want to, as soon as we show up on Monday, call for adjournment. And so they don't have to vote on these things. So it's unfortunate, but this will be probably a week-long exercise in futility. And I'll ask other legislators if they want to comment on it. But it's very, very frustrating having just read that. It's extremely limited. But we're going to work within that. Safe storage is an issue. It's an issue in Shelby County. It's a huge issue in Hamilton County. I think those are the two top, but then Nashville and Knoxville. And I'm sure Clarksville, as y'all been bragging on, y'all number 5. You're probably number 5 on some of these more negative things as well. But it's people are breaking into cars, leaving money, looking for guns. And they're getting them because we're not doing a good job as Tennesseans on storage. So that piece, we're going to try to drive that one home. There are also mental health issues that we're hoping to be able to pass some responsible legislation on. But we're going to pour over that special call and try to figure out where we fit in.
Carter, did you want to talk on that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you? Okay. Anybody else on that? I'm sorry. You had your hand.
Not on that, mine is about Trenton Road.
Trenton Road? Yeah, your question. We can get back to that. I mean, we got plenty of time to talk about it. Go ahead. No, go ahead with your question.
Hello everyone, my name is Shalonda Maxey and I am a small business owner here in the community. I'm co-owner of RNS Lee Mobile Detailing. Just have a question about Trenton Road. I'm kind of off what y'all was talking about.
That's fine.
However, I will be affected by this expansion and I'm just concerned there are a lot of new subdivisions on Trenton Road. How is that going to affect us? Are you all going to build stoplights or, and then what happens to those people whose houses are right there off of Trenton Road? And will I have to pay a toll to get to my
Good question, but you won't have to pay a toll to get to your house. There will be a new light at Hazelwood and Trenton, and I think that may be the only additional light. They will upgrade the other lights as well. As far as people living on that stretch, everyone's heard the term eminent domain, right? Do I need to say more? So in other words, a lot of these folks who live on Trenton Road will lose a lot of their land. They will be compensated, all right? They will be compensated fairly, fair market value. It may not feel like it to them, but they will be compensated through the state for that land. Unfortunately, they will lose that land. And as they go down, yes, it will get tighter and tighter for those who live on the land. It will take a while. There's 230 some tracts that has to be bought. For any of you to know, when it comes to negotiating contracts and land, that's not an easy process. Dealing with 230 some people who
may not want to give up their land too easily. So it's going to take it takes time. Will it affect businesses along the way? Yes. But you know, it's unfortunate. It's something that has to be done as we grow as a city. Can I answer your question? Yes, sir.
My name is Demetrius Jaggers. I am the pastor of City Church Clarksville. My question is in regards to what community members can do in an interim between elections, because so much of what you're talking about has to do with the people that we elect or don't elect in Nashville to make decisions on our behalf. So what can community members do day to day to ensure that we can have access to some of the things that we're talking about today?
You want to? You want? No, I can't. Did you want to get something? Yeah, you can. I just don't want y'all to sit the whole time. I want y'all to be part of this.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's very important and very meaningful to think about issues of concern that people become motivated by. Some of those we talked about earlier was women's health care, whichever side of the issue you're on, you have to look at who's making the decision. Is it a woman or a doctor, or is it somebody else, politicians? And there are different issues that motivate people. You have to assess this community and see what issues motivate people to get involved, to inspire others to register to vote and act on it. Now, a concept that I put forward to another group earlier was that maybe once a month, you have an issue that you know will motivate people. As I said, such as health care for women or voting rights, things of that nature. And you have to give, not only talk about that issue, but a narrative that people can understand and appreciate. We talked earlier about gun violence. Well, that's good to say gun violence, but what is the narrative? What is the example you're going to give to people that sort of sticks in their mind and say, yes, we need to make a change on that? An example of that, the Covenant shooting, my understanding some of the children had to be identified by DNA, not by, look at the child and say, this is my child or whatever. So that sticks, I think, with people, that something of that nature happens, and then we as a state government are not doing, in reality, anything about it in this special session. So develop the narrative. Develop what you want to say. It's not only what you say, but the manner in which you say it, and be consistent about it. If you start with health care for women, don't drop that next month. Add to it gun violence. Add to it health care. Build that momentum going on issues of interest and concern to this community, and that helps us to be successful. Everyone, Mr. President gave figures earlier about the number of people who are not voting. Well, if they feel they have issues and concerns that can be addressed through voting, yes, they will get involved in the process. Is that all right, sir? Yeah. I'm glad you've been chair.
Yeah. Mr. Jim.
I would just like to make a general statement. When I first got on the school board several years ago, there were 17,000 kids in the district. 17,000 kids in the district. This year, we are going to go over probably 40,000 kids in our school system alone. Think about it. 17,000, 40,000. We only had about 18 schools. We got 45 schools. Protection. If we don't make a difference at the polls in 2024, it's going to be on us. Clarksville is browning, y'all. Just browning quickly. We got 12 wards in Clarksville proper. 3 of the wards in Clarksville over 51% black and brown. 3. 10 of the wards over 44% black and brown. There's no reason why we can't make a difference with the legislators that we have in Nashville. And I'm not being partisan, I'm just being real. Everybody say the NAACP is nonpartisan. Yes, we are. But we're not stupid. We are of the opinion that we need to know the issues, and when we know the issues, we're supposed to be able to share them with our constituents. And my constituents is all over 200,000 people in Montgomery County. I'm not telling people who to vote for, the people that we identify. We don't care whether they're black or white, brown, pink, or purple. We don't care. We just know that there's a lot of people, over 135,000 people in those 4 counties that I mentioned up there a few minutes ago, that have not voted in the last 10 years that we are advocating for. We have our jobs cut out for us. We have our job cut out for us. We can make a difference, not only in Nashville, but in Washington, D.C. But we can't do it without you. We can't do it alone. We need everybody in here to tell somebody that they have a responsibility to make sure that this community get the representation that it needs in Nashville as well as in Washington, D.C. That's what I'm coming to. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Shedrick Webster. I'm a voters advocate. I advocate mostly for those people that are marginalized, population. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you to Ronnie. I believe this is your 4th town hall since you've been elected.
Yeah, something like that.
There are a lot of legislators in our state that are getting a lot of national attention for the things they're doing, but I really think that we elected the right guy from this county. We put the first black man in Chaz. Where's Chaz?
Yeah, Chad.
Put the first black man in how many years?
126.
126 years from District 67. And I believe we made a good decision on that, and so we thank you for doing that and for doing things like that. You can't pull out the chair on me because I'm at home. That's a facility that I call home. And you asked for us to target someone with our questions. Since Representative Hardaway got us some dope green laces in the sneakers, I'll target this question to him. Has there been any talk at the state legislative level about high school NIL? I know that's been changed for our state, but we know that there are high school students in our state that are going to other states, in particular Kentucky, because they have more NIL opportunities in the state of Kentucky. Is there anybody taking a look at that so that we can keep our talent here at home? And I'm not just talking about athletic talent. We've got students who are great athletes, but they're also excellent students, they're excellent people, and they go to these other counties and they go and spend a year or 2 in high school there, and then they go to college in those other states, and then they return to those cities and reinvest their money, their time, their talent, their energy there. And we can keep these kids at home if we make an adjustment to our NIL laws that reflect something that's more advantageous for our student athletes.
Well, thank you, sir. I know what not to wear when I'm I've seen and not heard.
You can't escape with me, man. Everybody got to answer the question.
Y'all watch my back. That chair back there. You know, that's an interesting question. We focus a lot on the higher ed institutions and how they handle these individual licensing agreements that amateurs can now make for themselves. And I've always been of the mind that you own yourself, you own the likeness, you own your image. The schools make millions and millions of dollars off of it. If they didn't, they wouldn't give you free board and free tuition. But that's only pennies compared to what the typical athlete is making for the school. So the answer is we've got work to do. And I'm kind of going back on the previous question. This is about getting organized. Elan Brown, Bishop Elan Brown, many years ago would drill this into me. If you want to make a difference, you got to get organized. Individually, you can show up, you can complain, you can make noise, but if you want to make a difference and impress folks, show up in numbers and be organized. So in between elections, as Representative Yusuf Hakeem has said, you have got to organize yourself around issues and make sure that when the voter goes to the polls, they cast an informed vote. That issue should be critical in getting the athletes to get food, get those high school students and those college students to the polls, because their interest is obvious. Okay? So those student athletes can help to get us organized and to the polls. So we're back to Representative Hakeem's idea that you organize around issues and you do it in increments. Your issue, get organized. If it's about the likenesses and licenses for the likenesses, can't say that fast. And then on women's reproductive issues, some of you may be concerned about, especially my entrepreneurs, about the programs which are going to be attacked that were designed to help our minorities to get a leg up for businesses. But get organized around your issues and then bring yourselves together. Organize your organized issues and individuals into one big group and come to the polls and make a difference. Cast an informed vote. Cast an informed vote. When you get those slicks in the mail, when you get those phone calls, robocalls, they're designed to influence the uninformed and low informed and no informed voters. Don't let them play you like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hardaway. All right, oh my, we're going to take one more question. It's going to be 8 o'clock here soon. We're going to take one more question, and we're going to take it from the lady out in the hallway. After that question, what I want is for each legislator to go real quick and just talk about a piece of legislation that you want to try to bring into next session. Doesn't have to be solid. It's just an idea that you kind of thought about and maybe want to try to present so that everyone know that, you know, kind of where we're going to be working toward in the next session. So I want to give the last question to the lady in the hallway. If you have a question for us afterward, please don't hesitate to come up and talk to us. But I want to give her the last question, and then we're going to go around the room real quick with the legislators, and then we'll be able to be ready to get out of here. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is April.
You got to come in. You can't talk from out there.
My name is April/TMO. And my question is, where do we stand as far as a commuter rail has that question ever even been brought up for Clarksville to Nashville and possibly other suburbs in the Nashville area?
Okay, I'm going to let Parkinson answer that question because he actually presented this bill about rail. So I'll let you answer that question.
Ask the question one more time.
I just wanted to know where are we as far as a state in reference to like a commuter rail that could possibly go from Clarksville to maybe Murfreesboro, because that would go straight down 24.
Right. So we just got so we passed a bill this year to study commuter rail or passenger rail rather across the entire state that will connect the urban centers to the rural areas. And that study, it passed, and the first study was, as a matter of fact, Harold, when we go back? Just, never mind.
Before December.
Okay, before December, right, obviously, right. So we got the draft study back. The draft study was approved at our next TASER meeting. The formal study will be approved
Okay, and it's on the TASER website. Thank you, sir. TASER is Tennessee, or TACIR. If you put that in there, TACIR, you can actually see the study. And they listed out the tiers for the legs of the railways as how they and how they will be built. And I think we go from Atlanta to Chattanooga, Chattanooga to Nashville, and Nashville to Memphis, and then there's some other filler pieces. So maybe that's where Clarksville is. I honestly didn't look for Clarksville.
Yeah.
What? My bad.
What?
Oh, you got
Being a guy just so as you heard, you're at Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis. So being a guy not from any of those cities, like Representative Glenn, we're second tier. There's a second tier. The problem, and that really is the flow, is from Atlanta over to Memphis, because they already have a rail going north-south there in Memphis. So, but that second level of the TASER study has it going from Nashville to Knoxville, and also Nashville up to Louisville, and that connects Clarksville in that piece. So it's on there. It's part of the study. But we're talking billions of dollars as it relates to that.
And we're first tier in our hearts. So
Yes. Same here.
You're first tier in my heart too after Memphis. So, but there, you know, that second tier, that middle piece, which is Middle Tennessee, is where you know, y'all's lines are. Because you're right, it goes to Carbondale, as a matter of fact, and I think that's what I connect Clarksville in. So you had me quite totally forgot. I'll sit down there.
All right, so that's going to end our Q&A, but what I want to do is give our legislators an opportunity to kind of give a 1-minute spiel on any legislation that they're planning for the next session, to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to do.
Next.
No, the next session, not special. We already know what we're doing special session. It's not nothing we want to do. So just kind of give an idea of what we're going to do, and then we'll close it out for the day, okay? All right, so we'll start with our chair, Mr. Sam McKinney.
I've been here, this will be my 4th year, and each year I have asked TASER, same group, to do a study. I get shut down every year. I just firmly believe we have a lot of our incarcerated citizens that have paid their price. It was marijuana, y'all, but it was marijuana in the 80s and in the 90s, and the sentences were a lot harsher. And so, or it was done in a school zone, which could be a park, a exposition center. So they got multiplied by 3 times their sentences. They're sitting there, they're active people that can be an active part of our community. So what I've asked TASER to do is to study. See what our sentencing guidelines are now, because they're probably not getting that much compared to what they were in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. If there's some disparities, let's start kicking these people out, putting them back into the society. 90% of the folks who are incarcerated are going to be our neighbors anyway. So let's accelerate that process. So I will continue to beat that drum this next session.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair. Mr. Chisholm.
Hey everybody, once again, I'm Jesse Chisholm out of Memphis, District 85. I just found out about an hour ago that a piece of legislation that I had about the firearms just died. And that bill was to reverse the constitutional carry, because there's no reason someone should carry a firearm without training, without background check, without those basic things that we knew you're supposed to have. So. But, however, I do have another piece of legislation that we're working on, and it's geared towards small businesses. Over the last 5 years, I've gotten a chance to work with our governor, our federal government, our economic and community development to develop what you heard today as Fund Tennessee. And going forward, what we want to do is add to the 3 tiers that they have, the invest side, all those different sides, and add a grant side to it. So we're going to work on getting with our governor to see if that's something that we can get done. Thank you.
Thank you. the next president of the National Black Caucus.
Thanks, sir. Harold Love, Tennessee, District 58. I actually have a bill that's actually moved through committee and it's just waiting in finance subcommittee for funding. It touches a little bit on affordable housing. The design is to say this: if you are a nonprofit organization, oftentimes you end up renting your houses or other units for less than market rate. Sometimes you may not have all your paperwork filled out, right? And when you rent that out, then the property assessor still charges you that market rate for a for-profit entity. And so you might not be interested in continuing to rent out below market rate. This piece of legislation simply says that if you rent your unit below market rate, the comptroller's office will allow the local government to create a grant program after you've paid your property taxes to reimburse you a portion of what you have paid, so you don't have to pay as much in property taxes. It's a way to incentivize those organizations that are already renting out units for less than market rate by simply saying, once you pay your property taxes, the local government has the option to do 1%, 10%, 50%, or 100%, right? After you paid your property tax to reimburse you. That way, I know a lot of faith-based institutions, right, may rent out property, but they still get charged for property taxes because it's the nature of our business. And you may say, well, listen, why should I keep charging below market rate if I want to have to keep paying at the regular property tax rate? I know in Nashville, that's what we suffer from. And so this is a bill to incentivize them. It's $112,000, I think, fiscal note on it. So I'm working right now to try to get that fiscal note taken off. And if we do, then I get some friends on Finance, Ways, and Means like Sam McKenzie to go ahead and get out of it. Thank you all.
What's the bill number?
I'll get that for you. I'm gonna get it while you, can I get her?
Yeah.
So let's talk while I get the bill.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the chair.
I always try to
Chair, welcome.
my education counterpart, Mr.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just heard earlier about the special session, that is designed to say to you, you can't change it, you won't change it, and when next session comes, you can forget about it. But they are overlooking the fact that it is a motivating factor for all of us. And what that means is, it's an issue to build on, to make the changes we want in the legislature. Right now, the time is now. We have to capitalize on this. And you know, in my case, and some others who talk about bills they have, I'm still going to present at least one and maybe 3 bills dealing with gun violence. It's going to be on television. Our committee meetings, how they going to shut it down. But we're going to present it anyway. People are going to know how they are blocking the common sense gun laws. That should be a motivator to say, let's make a change in those seats where people don't want to listen to what we have to say. They want to do what the gun manufacturer has to say. We have the power to make the change we want. Let's get it done.
We have an answer to the bill number.
House Bill 0361.
All right, don't get that bill. All right. All the way from Memphis are my criminal justice counterpart, Mr. G.A. all the way.
Once again, I feel like I was sitting in the wrong place, wrong time, coming after Reverend Hakeem. So, but I'm gonna do my best. Community terrorism. Let's call it what it is. These criminal gangs, criminal gang activity, when they do the drive-by shootings, when they're shooting in the crowds, shooting in the cars, shooting from cars, when children are killed in their homes on Christmas morning, merely opening Christmas presents, when babies are killed in their beds, just trying to get a good night's rest, when young folks are killed on the couch watching TV. Why? Because somebody has organized criminal gang activity in order to intimidate the community. And the bound to their demands. So they can carry on their criminal gang activity. Whether it's prostitution, sex trafficking, it can be drugs, it can be stolen merchandise. I've got to be able to deal with that. I've got a bill that will enhance the penalties for community terrorism. I've got a bill that will put GPS monitors on these individuals when they get out on bond, because we know that they repeat the crimes while they're out on bond. Doesn't make sense to me. I've got a bill that it also takes your driver's license for 5 years if you're involved in drive-by shootings. Didn't make sense to me. If you're abusing the privilege of driving to kill folk, you can be convicted of a drive-by murder and keep your driver's license. That makes sense to me. But those are some of the main points. You'll also be able to put them out of their office. Their office is the community. Right? So we'll be able to ban them from doing business in their community, because they won't be allowed to come into the office. Right? But those are some of the things that are part of my community terrorism bill. It's designed to enhance, identify, and enhance the penalties for those who engage in that repeat criminal gang activity. If you're involved in advancing criminal gangs, then you need to pay the penalty. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And last, the man who helped me when I was stuck in Memphis a couple of weeks ago, Parkinson, Mr. Parkinson. He always got food too, some fish or something like that.
That just goes to show you how much I care about Clarksville. Right. So, let me preface with this. This year, I ran legislation to get rape kits tested within 30 days. I guess, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, there was another piece of legislation that told TBI they only had to report, what their progress was in getting rape kits tested. So, of course, the Republican majority took the easy way out by passing the legislation that said they only had to report, versus funding the legislation that said they had to get it down within 30 days. And that affects all of us. I ran the same legislation back in 2014, and again, that legislation passed through every committee up until it got to finance, and the Tennessee legislature and the governor decided it was not a high priority for them to fund. Had that bill passed, the person that has been accused of killing Liza Fletcher, thank you, sir. Miss Eliza Fletcher, he would have been locked up because he was accused and had a DNA match of raping someone else before a year before he killed Eliza Fletcher. It took 1 year for the DNA hit to come back, and it came back on the day that they were searching for Eliza Fletcher. So had we passed that bill in 2014, cost $5 million per year to enact it, in a, $56 billion budget? $56 billion budget. They didn't want to spend $5 million to protect women in 2014. So when they didn't do that, Eliza Fletcher was killed. Yep. Now, we came back because Eliza Fletcher was killed and ran the same legislation this year. And once again, it was not a priority to protect women and other victims of rape in the state of Tennessee. Wow. And they did not fund it. But instead, they chose to take a watered down version and pass that and let that be their reasoning, and to say that they actually done something in regards to rape kits. And so again, I bring that bill back, to get it down in 30 days. I will not stop until we get rape kits tested
in 30 days, by TBI, and the state of Tennessee funds $5 million, that's all it costs, $5 million out of the $56 billion budget. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, and so the main piece of legislation that I will be looking at coming this year, I actually got it from one of our county commissioners the other day, which I thought was a really good piece, was because we have the Hope Fund, which is used some lottery dollars. Those who receive those lottery dollars, that Hope Fund, if they complete a 4-year degree, then we can have some of those lottery dollars on the back end in the form of a grant to be able to help them to offset some of the student debt that they have. So I thought the county commissioner who brought it to me, that was a very good idea. I actually talked to the lottery people today, the higher education. They thought it was a good idea, so it has a really good chance of moving through. Again, it's using those lottery dollars. Everybody know what the lottery is tonight? So everybody who paid tonight will be paying, helping to take care of a student, right, once they finish their 4-year degree on the backside to help alleviate some of that debt. So I thought it was a really good idea, and that's the one that I really want to push going into next session. So that concludes our town hall tonight, but what I want to do is I want to thank Commissioner Baker